what you're missing when you say that Bitcoin has no value is that you're looking at Bitcoin just as the currency unit instead of looking at Bitcoin, the payment network. And if I was to tell you that I'd created a decentralized payment network that could send transactions between any two people in any size anywhere in the world without any government knowing about it or any fee or any counterparty risk whatsoever, would you say that such a system has no value? And then if I told you that that system only accepts one currency on it, called the Bitcoin unit of currency, very clearly the Bitcoin unit of currency is going to have a market price because there's only so many of them on that network.
Right. So I would have two questions, and for you to maybe, and you will have a break, and you can come back and answer them. The first one would have to do is if I accept the idea that the payment system has value and is an interesting or valuable system, there are no barriers to entry. There is nothing that prevents 5, 10, 100 alternative competing digital currencies that have the exact same properties, as Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. So you can have 21 million Bitcoins, but you can have hundreds of billions of other digital currencies that could circulate, that could go on a different network. And you never know. Maybe at some point the networks could all merge and, you could have people that will say, I'm going to take payment in any one of 100 digital currencies. Just like, well, are you going to pay in Visa, MasterCard, or American Express? It could be Bitcoin or, whatever other coin you want to make up.
Bitcoin network could be replicated in part by anyone because it's open source code, so anyone can copy it and make a new one. But the problem with networks is that they require network effects. So there's a reason that there's only one email protocol in the world right now. And when you send email to someone, you're both on the same protocol. Anyone could take that protocol and make a new email protocol, right? But why are people going to switch? There's no added benefit to switching. So the fact that Bitcoin had to struggle with this network effect in the early days was a challenge, but now it's becoming one of its strongest attributes. Any of these other currencies would have to offer something far better than Bitcoin in order for people to start switching.
One thing I would think of is that people might look at, Bitcoins are very expensive now. There's a lot of risk. Why don't I just buy one of these other digital currencies that's still lower price that might have a lot more upside potential? I mean, Bitcoin could be a victim of its own success in that the more expensive it gets, the higher is the perceived risk. And somebody might want to buy one of these other coins that they can still buy for like less than $1 a piece. And they hope, well, maybe that one will become the next Bitcoin. And, that one might have a better chance of going from 1 to 100 than Bitcoin has from going from 1,000 to 100,000.
There are a lot of silly speculators that would make that exact argument that Bitcoin is too expensive, so I'm going to hop onto one of these smaller ones. What those people seem to forget is that the reason that Bitcoin is expensive is because it actually has the infrastructure that makes it that valuable. Bitcoin is the one cryptocurrency that has thousands of businesses around the world working on building systems for it. It's been around for the longest amount of time. It has the largest mining network that keeps it secure.
There is a supposed 21 million unit scarcity, which is a self-imposed scarcity. The only reason it's scarce is because they created it to be scarce, except it's not scarce because Bitcoin can be forked off as many times as you want. There's Bitcoin Cash, there's Bitcoin Gold, whatever. Meanwhile, there's another 1,500 or so cryptocurrencies that can do everything Bitcoin can do. Some of them can do it better, faster, cheaper. There's no limit to the number of other digital currencies that can be created. There's only one gold. There'll never be another gold. Yeah, there are other metals on the periodic table, but they're not gold. They're not exactly the same as gold. But you can make as many cryptocurrencies that are exactly the same as Bitcoin. They just have a different name, but they have the exact same properties. Although they may have better properties, they may be cheaper or faster. But the biggest problem with Bitcoin and why it can never be used as money is because one of the most important functions of money is that it has to be a reliable store of value. Right now, people want Bitcoins because they think they're going to get rich. Why do they think they're going to get rich? Because they think the price is going to go up, because they believe that one day it's going to be money. It's not money now. It's not being used as money now. It's being used as a speculative asset. But the speculation is that that's going to change in the future and that one day it'll be money. But that is a promise on which Bitcoin nor any other cryptocurrency is ever capable of delivering.
So I want to address the multiple coins as inflation argument, which is that Bitcoin's not really scarce because there's all sorts of coins that can be replicated from it. Just as gold is scarce, and I can't make the claim that there are other metals and thus gold is not scarce, I don't think that you can make the claim that just because there are other cryptos that means Bitcoin is not scarce. You can copy the code, but the code is not the network. You cannot copy the hash power of the miners. You cannot copy the infrastructure of all the wallets and all the companies that operate on the Bitcoin network. You cannot copy the brand, actually. You cannot copy that reputation that Bitcoin has earned in time. And we don't need to debate this on a theoretical level. We have actually seen this happening. So when we last debated, Peter, a few years ago in late 2013, there was about $10 billion as the entire market cap of Bitcoin. And all the alts, everything other than Bitcoin put together, was about $1 billion. According to your theory, if more blockchains happened and more alts came out, and more money even went into those alts, the market cap of Bitcoin itself should decline. Yet what we've seen is that alts have exploded. They're now $150 billion in value. And Bitcoin also has increased in value. It's now $110 billion in market cap. So if it was true that more coins and blockchains would debase the value of Bitcoin, the market cap of Bitcoin should be far less than it is today. And this doesn't have to be a mystery to anyone. A clone of Bitcoin's code is not a clone of Bitcoin.
Sure, I mean, there's this big network of people that accept Bitcoin. So what? I mean, how many people have MySpace accounts? Right? That was a network. All right, well, Facebook came along. Oh, it was better. I mean, what's the odds? Think about all the technologies that we have today. Does anybody have the first cell phone ever made? Anyone have the first camera? The first television? The first automobile? No. Right? Someone comes up with a better one. So what's the odds that Bitcoin is the best cryptocurrency that's ever going to be invented? And so if it can be easily replaced by something that's better, because, if you look at what you can do with it, well, I could do the same thing with any other cryptocurrency. But the problem is, even if there's a cryptocurrency now that's better than Bitcoin, and there probably are many, there are other ones that have yet to be devised that will be better than those. And so the problem is you can't use it as money. You can't store it. Just like I couldn't use the first cell phone as money, or I couldn't use the first car. All these products are losing value in the market as somebody comes up with something better to replace it. Right? Gold, nobody's come up with a better gold. Thousands of years, people tried to make gold and they've succeeded. Alchemists, so we know that's real money. Let's say the top was 20,000. I think there's a good chance that the market's topped out. Now, how long is it going to take before it zeroes out? I don't know. There's a lot of trading going on. People are buying and selling. I don't think there's any real capitulation yet. I don't think any of the long-term Bitcoin holders are scared that Bitcoin went down 70%, especially if they've been in it for a long time. But there's a big difference between when your market cap is as high as it is now and you have a 70% drop than when it went from $1 to 30 cents, when people lost their lunch money. Now you got people with their IRA money. You got people with big amounts of money in Bitcoin that got suckered into this mania between 10,000 and 20,000. And I think that, right now, Bitcoin's got a lot going for it because you got all these kids that are now, millionaires driving their Lambos, right? And everybody else has to tune out all the FUD, right? You don't want to, because they're afraid of missing out, all the FOMO, right? But once the market crashes and you get the horror stories of people that mortgaged their house and took out credit card loans to buy Bitcoin and now they lost their life savings, right? All of a sudden, all the stories of instant riches are going to be replaced by stories of big losses. And now the brand is tarnished. And now you've destroyed. Like a lot of these people that bought Bitcoin at 10, 15,000, when they sell out at a loss, they ain't coming back. Right? That's going to be, so you destroy your market, you destroy the brand, and all this demand is gone. And all you've got left is the supply. Not just a supply of Bitcoins, but all the altcoins that were created during the mania, and all that malinvestment that built up in industries to cultivate to it. It's all going to come crashing down, just like every other bubble.
Could you finally address this question that Peter's challenged, the scarcity of Bitcoin? He said there's all these forks having to do with Bitcoin. So is Bitcoin only 21 million ounces, or is Peter right? With all those forks and whatever, there's a lot more than 21 million going to be involved.
There's only 21 million Bitcoin. There can never be more than
But what about the forks? The forks.
That's not Bitcoin. Just as silver is not gold, just as iron is not gold, Litecoin, Dash, and Monero are not Bitcoin.
Okay, unfortunately.
But there's no real difference. They're all the same property. I mean, there's a big difference between gold and silver.
Well,
Factually incorrect.
Okay. Unfortunately.
What can I do with? All right. Well, if I was on a desert island with my Litecoin, what could I do with it that I can't do with my Bitcoin?
You can do about as much as you could do with gold on a desert
No,
island.
I can do a lot with gold on a desert island.
Okay.